Good evening, everybody. This is Grizzly from Lexington, Kentucky. Around the world, coast to coast, do we have a special guest for you this evening? You're going to really love this one. I don't know where we're going to go. I'm going to let Jim tell us.
Hey, my name is Jim Andre. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm an alien abductee, contactee, energetic healer. My experience began in the fall of 2012. I distinctly remember it was a Wednesday night. I sat down in front of my computer. I'm a retired Massachusetts constable and motor coach bus driver. And I distinctly remember it was a Wednesday night. I sat in front of the computer, looked at the lower right-hand corner of the computer monitor with the thought that I had to get up early to drive a bus in the morning.
Right.
I had to get up around 3 in the morning. And I sat in the chair, and next thing I know, I'm out. I'm just like, I went out cold. When I came to, I'm like in a daze. I'm looking around the room. I glanced over to the alarm clock, and it said 2:57 a.m. So I'm trying to gather my thoughts, and all of a sudden I feel an intense burning sensation on my right forearm. And, I know this sounds bizarre. I mean, I was beside myself for the longest time. I don't expect many people to believe it. There was an alien tattoo that depicts an alien gray, and this is the tattoo right here.
Oh, wow. You woke up with that?
I woke up with that. I didn't know what to make of it. I tried to just put it out of my mind. I still went to work. Tried not to think about it. I held it in for the longest time. I mean, I told a few people when it happened, like my dad, some family members. Of course, they all thought I was crazy. But then again, they never seen the tattoo before either. They were wondering, where did it come from? And this tattoo, it didn't heal like a conventional tattoo.
Right.
A conventional tattoo will scab up like a scrape or an abrasion, heal within 7 to 10 days.
Yes, sir.
This one here, what happened was it boiled up like a blister.
Oh, wow.
And when it healed, it peeled like a sunburn. Yeah. When it healed, it peeled like a sunburn. And it healed within 3 days.
Now that's incredible.
And it actually morphs. Would you be able to share my screen? Or can I share the screen?
Yeah, you can share your screen.
No.
Down at the bottom.
I can show you the difference of I can show you the difference when it was fresh and what it looks like now. It's a side by side. The tattoo actually morphs slightly. Let me see if I can get it. Hold on.
Okay. Testing. Seems like I'm still having problems a little bit here and there. Hello. Testing. Test. There we go. That would freak me out waking up and having that tattoo on me.
Well, I tell you, I held it in for a long time, for about almost 2 years before I come out with my experience. Obviously, I had to rationalize things within myself over a period of time, a course of time, before I felt comfortable with revealing what I experienced.
I got a question here. Do you remember anything after you were conscious?
No, the abduction itself is foggy. I can't. The only way I can explain that is like when you have something on the tip of your tongue, and you just can't grasp what you're thinking about or whatever. But let me see if I can share this. All the options I have on the bottom here is mute, stop cam, settings, present, and leave studio. I don't see the option to share screen.
Let's see here. It should hit present, then share screen. It's the very bottom.
Present.
Then
Oh, okay.
share
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
There we go.
Now this was when it was fresh. You see see like here is all blackened in, right?
Yeah,
Over
it's just
here,
totally
over
different.
here, yeah, over here you got these white marks, like a star or whatever that is. And the sun actually, see, it looks lower here than it does here.
Yeah.
And inside the head area. So it actually does morph. And I actually had a friend of mine, Larry Hollenbeck, who I met through Facebook after I, came forward with my experience. And he's a Photoshop expert. What he did was he used some kind of technique where he didn't alter the tattoo in any way, but he did some kind of color spectrum or something and went in depth. And he actually brought out different symbols that are within this tattoo that you can't see with the naked eye.
Really?
One of them was like an astronaut. Yeah, one of them was like an astronaut that was like kind of kneeling down. You can see the oxygen tank on his back, his helmet, and different alien images within the tattoo that you can't see with the naked eye.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I mean, what went through your mind when you first realized?
I didn't know what to think of it. I just, what I did was at first just try to forget about it, like make believe it wasn't there. I mean, that was a hard thing to do, obviously, because it's basically always staring me in the face. But when I decided to come out with my experience, it was on a local cable TV network in Massachusetts where I was living at the time. I've since relocated to Florida after retiring. But and coincidentally, the host of the show was a lawyer, an attorney for a law firm that I've done hundreds of serves for during the 12 years of being a Massachusetts constable. And I was essentially putting my reputation on the line at the time.
Right. Yeah.
But but to come out with it was like a relief for me because it was like a therapy. That's the only way I can explain it. And since then, moving forward, I've just been moving forward. And I created a Facebook page, the Alien Connection Truth Network. We got about 120,000 members. And
wow.
the reason why I created that was to give a forum to likewise individuals who have experienced similar experiences that would feel comfortable talking about it in a forum where they wouldn't get, without fear of being ridiculed.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? And that's the shame about people like that is that you have people out there that no matter what you say or do, they're going to ridicule you or hang you by a tree and call you a fake or phony.
And I understand that because, I mean, if I was on the other side of the fence, I probably wouldn't believe it either. But I mean, it's so bizarre that, I mean, I can't blame anyone for not believing it. So that's understandable, If there's any trolls, I just let that roll off my back. I don't feed into it.
Yeah. Have you has it morphed anymore or has it stayed the same?
It's basically where it's at now. I don't know if it'll continually change, as time moves on, but I mean, there is a significant difference from when it first was when it first appeared on my arm. So
Yeah, I saw. So where was you at? Was you at home or in the car or?
I was at home at my computer, just like I am now. But this was in Massachusetts. I live in Lake Wales, Florida now.
Yeah.
Because I also get telepathic downloaded messages telepathically from the Zeta Reticula, the short grays. And
Really?
yeah, what I can say is that they claim that the first open official public UFO landing regarding full disclosure that's going to take place is going to be at Bach Towers in Florida. And that's one reason why I relocated from Massachusetts to Florida. And I live about maybe 7 miles from Bach Towers. And, maybe some other time you can have another guy as a guest on here that can validate what I'm saying right now. I met him through the Alien Connection Truth Network when I first started the group, which was a few years ago. And his name is Jim McFarland. And I believe it was Missouri or Arkansas at the time that he was in. This was maybe about a year ago. He went into this tobacco shop and he heard the customer talking about aliens with the clerk behind the counter. And the customer was saying that the first open public UFO landing is going to be at Bach Towers. And that freaked Jim out because I told him 2 years before that, while I was still up in Massachusetts, that's where that was going to occur.
Are
So
they
that
going to
was like
come in
about
peace?
yeah. It's all about peace. In order to save themselves, the way the world is today, in order for them to save themselves, they got to save man. So they will end up saving man from man himself.
And I've always said that before, and I said that's what their mission is because of our self-destructions and the wars and everything that we're doing and the nuclear weapons and the stuff that we're burning out in the open and the trash and
Well, man's intelligence is his curse because, for example, a cow grazing in a field is more than likely satisfied by doing just that, grazing in a field. But man, due to his intelligence, will never truly be satisfied. His intelligence distorts the simplicity of nature, and he'll never be truly satisfied until he self-annihilates.
yeah, well, I mean, you look at the Nostradamus predictions, you look at the two world wars. I mean, you turn around and look at the biblical references of Revelations. I mean, I, I'm basically I'm speechless.
Yeah, I mean, recently the Georgia Guidestones were sabotaged, and I can say they were sabotaged by the Zeta Reticula. Okay, they shot a beam out of the sky, they damaged the Guidestones, and that was a message to the powers that be, or the 1%. Technically, it's probably about 10%, but that was a message to them. For them to screw off what they're doing, especially with that hadron atom smashing collider, because according to the Zeta Reticula, they don't know what they're playing with.
I mean, that makes sense because they said they don't have no idea how they exploded or crumbled and everything else.
Right. Well, one theory is the universe began with a Big Bang, so it wouldn't be so hard to believe that it could end with one.
Well, Jim, and one of the things that I talk about a lot and on my shows is all the ancient civilizations that we had on Earth, how they all just wiped off the face of the earth without anything.
Well, that's the thing. You see, when the balance comes so unbalanced as it is today, there's got to be what is known and called a reset. And whenever a huge reset like that, it has to occur, there has to be obviously some sacrifices. You know, the
Oh,
only way a new world can be born is out of the rubble of the old.
and that is true. And that's one of the things I was talking about when it comes to my other guests is that, you look at the Aztec, the Mayans, the Egyptians. What about us? When is it going to be our time to reset?
Right. Throughout history, every great society that has risen has fallen. So,
Yes, they have. And that's,
our current day society won't be any different.
well, I tell you what, I'm speechless right now. I wasn't expecting to be caught off guard. I know I had a interesting candidate because, like I said, I handpicked you
Uh-huh.
from my research and everything. I just didn't go any, meeny, miny, mo. There was
Right.
reasons why I picked you out because your professionalism and your reputation that precede yourself and your knowledge. But
Yeah. Right now, I'm in contact with a gentleman named what's his name? Diedrich Hilton, and he's a top-ranking UFO investigator, and he has a paranormal channel called Hoodoo Paranormal,
uh-huh.
and uh, and he streams on all channels, Amazon, Fire Stick, all of them. And I was a guest on his show the other day. I showed him the tattoos and how the tattoo pictures and how it morphs and stuff. And he's going to help me try to verify my claim. So I'm glad I got connected with him. And I knew it was just a matter of time. I don't just flash myself out there and try to gain attention. I just take things slowly, That this happened to me 10 years ago. So now things have fallen into place. I've always told myself that things will fall into place when they're supposed to.
I mean, once again, it makes sense. I mean, I don't see you going out and getting a tattoo like that and have it more for change shape and design. That's for damn sure.
Right.
So there's more that that you're not supposed to tell the human race then.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You're right on the money there. Right. Some things can't be said until that they got to be timed right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can tell you one thing that's going to come that we got to watch out for is a false flag alien invasion. Compliments of the 1% themselves. They got this technology today, these holograms, where they can make alien craft appear in the sky, and you swear it's real. You can watch Michael Jackson in a concert on stage like he's really
Right.
there. So what they're planning is a false flag invasion where these alien craft are going to be firing weapons, and in reality, it's going to be being fired by the military. So what they
Wow.
want to do is what they want to do is um, you know use fear as a tool like they always have for thousands of years with religion itself, which is a brainwashing. Uh, generation upon generation born into a religious society from infancy for thousands and thousands of years is no greater brainwashing. But
Well,
in any
and
event,
and you bring up a good point because I even said before that the Bible is missing so many books. The Bible was
exactly. I think there's 66. I think there's 66, in my opinion, would be that's where the truth lies.
it probably is. I watched a special on the other night about the Dead Sea Scrolls, and there's a lot that they couldn't answer because of it, because they were missing pieces, and I think the missing pieces were intentional. That's just my opinion and thought.
Right.
But you look at the Book of Enoch, the Book of Giants, and we can go on and I've got psychics, mediums, first responders. I got state police, A couple civilians on my team, on my admins to my groups. And I've been looking for a preacher or reverend for quite a while, and I found one. And we got talking about the Bible, biblical reference, and he said, you can just stop right there. He said, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, who wrote it? Well, I was getting ready to answer him. He says, the answer you're getting ready to give me is not the right answer. We don't know. And
Right.
that really took me back to your story, what you're saying right now, what I've always been saying since I've started my podcast.
Uh-huh.
You know, there's a reason why the country has been releasing footage from the Navy and Air Force of UFOs flying.
Of course. They're preparing us. Years ago, it was President Reagan that said if there was ever an invasion from an outside entity that we'd have to, stick together as a humanity, as a collective in order to fight an outside enemy.
Yeah.
And to me, that was like dropping a ball. They do this very, very deceptively. They groom everybody. They groom everybody, brainwash you constantly.
Well, and Ronald Reagan said that the whole world would put aside their differences and become one.
Yeah, well,
with the
that's
alien
probably
threat.
true, but they throw out them half truths in there with a lot of lies. I mean,
I believe it.
Obviously, today I wouldn't trust the mainstream news media as far as I could throw them, and that wouldn't be very far.
I don't even watch it anymore, to be honest. I gave up on it. Only thing you hear about is murders, crimes, and stuff that's not true in my book.
Well, everything is based on fear. The last fear tactic. I don't like talking about COVID because then they take your shit down. But I mean, to me, that's not a pandemic. That's a plandemic, and that's another fearful tool they use. So, now like religion, right? They teach you to fear the dark side, negativity, evil, and beyond to a entity called Satan. And then on the good side, you got the good and loving God. But they also teach you to fear the good and loving God, fear the wrath of the good and loving God if you do not do what he says. And punishment for sinning is what? Burning in eternal damnation, which could be scarier than Satan himself.
Yeah, that's
and the
true.
bar for sinning is set so high, there's no individual on earth that never sinned.
That's true.
So it's all a fear tactic.
Well, what really got me thinking about all this was years ago, the movie Independence Day with Will Smith. The government got involved with that motion picture and scrubbed that movie over 13 times before it was released to the public.
Uh-huh.
Now, you and God's creation tell me why our national government had to get involved and do that.
Well, for their own deceptive reasons, obviously. I mean, it's all just smoke screens and mirrors. That's all it is.
Is that why we're seeing a lot more of the cryptids?
Yeah, well, that's why, everything's coming to a head. There's more UFO sightings, reports of UFO abductees. I mean, another interesting thing is, the capability to shut down nuclear weaponry when UFOs are seen over the nuclear silos.
Yep, I remember that.
This has happened worldwide. So that tells me they're doing their due diligence, to protect man from himself, because they're testing their technology, and when they shut that weaponry down, it takes the military 24 hours to reboot the system back to firing status. So there you go. And that's been reputable reports. I mean, I seen a segment on Larry King Live where he had 5 military men on there to attest to that. So
Yeah.
that's believable.
Well, like I always said, Jim, is that people can draw a line in the sand, but eventually you're going to have to wipe it and move that line.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, time goes on, time constant changes, nothing stays the same.
No, it doesn't. Now, I also do think that some of the UFOs that we're seeing that are probably ours, man-made.
Oh yeah, they back engineered it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that.
That's like Hitler. People said Hitler didn't have a flying saucer for years until that 12 or 8 to 12-second video came out, and there was a SS saucer flying over a building,
Right. Yeah.
which they still never found it. So it's called soft disclosure. And I mean, that's just being truthful. And the technology he was working on, where did he get that from?
Exactly. Well, I mean, there was more than, Germany, United States. They all had connections with the aliens.
Yeah. 54, Eisenhower signed a treaty with one in the military hangars. The granddaughter came forward last year and admitted it happened.
Yeah, Laura Eisenhower. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what was signed, I mean, we can just guess and theorize. But,
Well, yeah, they made some kind of deal. Yeah, you can abduct humans as long as you don't harm them, return them, whatever, do whatever tests you want. I mean, and then in turn for some technology that we could acquire. So I don't know.
Well, and that's what I always said, Jim. Where did the technology come from? 115, 20 years ago, we were in a horse and buggy. I mean, look at us today.
Exactly.
I mean, I know man's smart, but we didn't come up with all this by ourselves. There's no way.
No.
And I hate to see what kind of technology they have control over.
Oh, yeah. It's like a lot of people, they're afraid of aliens and all that stuff. And what I tell them is, with their advanced technology, you think we're advanced when we're nothing compared to what they have. If they didn't have our best interests in mind, they could have annihilated us a long time ago.
Oh, absolutely. And brings forth my statement once again. That's where I think the ancient civilizations went to. I mean, they just don't get wiped off the face of the earth and no record of it,
Right.
It happened for a reason. And people may laugh at me for saying that, but I've been saying that for quite a while on the show, is that somebody explained to me about that. How can they just disappear? And I get some people say, well, there were diseases and all this other stuff, but you would have record, you would have history of it.
Right.
So,
well, there's hundreds of thousands of people that go missing every year,
Never. Yeah, we just talked about that on the last show when I was having computer board problems, soundboard problems. That Alaska 2 years ago was over 60,000. You got the Appalachian Trail, Yosemite, Yellowstone. I always say follow the money, but
all these national parks. Yeah, I mean that's crazy.
It is. And you can't find a piece of clothing, a tent, a hunting rifle, or
exactly
anything. They're just gone.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. To me, life is a journey to be experienced, not a problem to be solved.
That's a pretty good statement to make.
Yeah.
It really is.
There is really no solution anyway.
Well,
Man,
You know it, so
to me, man is the cause. He'll never be the solution.
right. And man's always been the problem. I mean, far as back when we go in history, so don't matter, who was in. If we refer to Stalin, Hitler, we can go back to the Roman age.
Yep.
They were there back then. The aliens were.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well,
They
the Anunnaki, I guess, probably about 2,000 years ago with the Egyptians. I
Yep.
mean, we didn't build them. We didn't build them pyramids. They had to be built with help from a higher intelligence of life, which were the extraterrestrials themselves. The island of Atlantis. I believe that the island of Atlantis served as a learning facility to jumpstart man's knowledge. That's when he was taught calculations, astronomy, engineering, mathematics, and all that stuff. And that's when the era when the pyramids were built. Scientists and architects and engineers can't duplicate with the precision today that them pyramids were built with thousands of years ago. We don't have the technology today to match that.
Well, we don't even have the cranes in the world that can pick up
Right,
one of those
exactly.
blocks.
That's right.
So
how the heck would they have been able to do that without help way back then? And another interesting thing is that all four corners of the earth, there were pyramids. And back then there was no form of communication like we got today.
now there wasn't. We built them and built Atlantis in like a download. That's one way to look at it. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what the years are going to bring us, and what the government is going to continue to keep doing and not doing.
Right.
I mean, why do you think you were chosen?
I've often asked myself that question, and I don't really worry about that. It's like I was saying before, everything will fall into place when it's supposed to, and whatever questions that I have, I believe they'll be answered, when it's supposed to be answered.
Yeah, absolutely. I can understand that.
One abduction. Oh, okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
One abduction I believe is legit is the Betty and Barney Hill abduction.
Right.
And I'll tell you why. That was September 19th, 1961. They were on their way back from New Hampshire at night and coming back to New Hampshire, I guess, from Canada, vacation, whatever. But coincidentally, that was my 8th birthday. And since a child, I've always felt different and somehow tied into that. But again, I can't verify that. But I strongly believe that I was on the same craft as they were. But why I bring them up is because, back in the early 60s, being an interracial married couple was taboo back then.
Yes, it was.
So I would think that the least thing they would want to do is bring any unwanted or unnecessary attention upon themselves with something so bizarre.
Yep. Well, didn't they have her dressed for the longest time and with that substance on it?
Well, yeah, not only that, but she drew a star map under hypnotic regression that they couldn't verify, that she said that she's seen a vision of on the spacecraft on a screen. She drew the diagram under hypnotic regression. They couldn't verify that star system, but a few years after she died, they discovered it.
Isn't that something?
Yep.
Well,
And another case I think is authentic is Travis Walton.
Okay.
Yeah, because of the way that went down with the 6, other workers there that witnessed what happened and lie
Right.
detector tests throughout the years. And throughout 40 something years, the story never changed. They all kept saying the same thing. So I think that's a legit claim as well.
Yeah, it was totally different back then than it is today. I mean, people can speak more openly and freely in a certain way they could now instead of then.
Oh, yeah, that was tough way back then. Yeah. I mean, who would
Yeah.
have believed something that bizarre, you know?
Oh, right. Right. I mean, for the people that seen the tattoo from before and after, that just blows my mind, you know. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's kind of like subtle, but it's there. I mean, you can see the difference, and that is pretty wild.
yeah, it is. And especially how it healed and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they use some type of laser procedure. I don't know, but it healed differently than a conventional tattoo. I know
So what's your message for the human race?
that. All I can say to that is there's no help for the human race. I don't mean to be. You know, we're our own worst enemy, right? We have no one to compete against but ourselves, no one to fear but ourselves. Then we build these devastating weapons to protect us from no other than ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think we'll end up having this in our lifetime, or will it be another
I
generation?
believe that's very possible. Yes, I think things are coming to a head soon.
I got you.
Yep.
Well, it just proves what I've been thinking all along has been sort of right, in the right direction. Gives me some validation,
Yep.
you know, because what I've been talking about has been my own theories and my own thoughts and opinions, which everybody has them. But
Right.
to hear you speaking, it's pretty much right in line what you're saying and said. So, and
Yep.
especially meeting that reverend that stopped me in the middle of answering that question about the Bible, and I won't say too much more about it because I don't want to offend anybody or hurt anybody's feelings. But
Right. Exactly. And I feel the same way. God bless anybody who wants to believe what they want to believe.
right,
You know, my theory is that the extent of a God is a essence or a source. It's a universal energy that makes all things possible. So you've got the energy, your consciousness, and the air that you breathe. And
well,
everything within the universe is the universe experiencing itself in a gazillion different ways all at the same time.
yeah. Well, it says in the Bible, God has made creatures seen and unseen. So,
The reality is that we're living in a chaotic, random, unforgiving realm. You know, you have chaos naturally within nature itself. You know, you have natural disasters. You can have tornadoes, floods, earthquakes, volcano eruptions, tsunamis. Hell, an asteroid could hit the earth at any given moment. It's all random. Now, the question would be, do you think the universe cares or nature itself cares whether a tsunami wipes out 250,000 people all at one time? Is it going to feel guilty?
well,
It's just
it,
it's just
it's
it's just randomness. This is the dimension that we live in, the third dimension, and that's the way it's always going to be. Whereas there's chaos naturally within nature, man is just as much nature as everything else around him. There will always be chaos amongst men, and man's got to understand that the earth doesn't belong to him. Man belongs to the earth.
that is correct. A lot of Bigfoot people believe in that, and Sasquatch people.
Yeah, they're interdimensional. Bigfoot's
So,
interdimensional.
you know, a lot of people's got their own theories on that. And, you know, the people I interview, the stories are similar, you know, but you can't discount them. You know, they saw what
Right.
they saw. They
Well, yeah,
experienced
yeah. I mean,
what they experienced. But to have groups telling you you have to believe in this way, and this way. If not, you don't join our group. Well, that's the SS to
no,
me.
right, exactly.
You know,
I
I
don't,
don't.
I don't tell anybody to believe anything I spew. You know what I mean? I
Right.
just
Oh,
try to
absolutely.
educate people to another way of thinking, and then they could take it from there.
Well, it's the best way to be, and it's the only way to
Right,
be.
right,
And
exactly.
they're always going to form their own opinions and decisions and theories. And you know, when we talk about the cryptids and everything else, and you know, I say the same thing you said earlier. You know, we are brainwashed. We are taught that things that does not exist do exist.
Right,
You know, we have what I call monsters washing upon beaches across the world. And the first thing the city or county government does is bring a backhoe in, dig a hole, and bury it.
exactly.
But
Well,
worse,
look what
worse.
happened. Look what happened when them UFOs crashed in the 1940s.
Oh,
They
yeah.
scoffed everything up and brought it to a place where nobody would know what's going on. Right.
Yeah. I mean, we can go on and talk about stuff like this. I mean, there's so many different rabbit holes, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
you know, it's amazing to meet somebody that had an experience like you had. You know, I don't know how well I would deal with it, to be honest.
Well, I will say it wasn't easy. I mean, I had to do a lot of rationalizing within myself, before
Yeah.
I felt even comfortable in my own skin to come out. Never mind with, communicating with, you know, publicly about it.
Oh, absolutely. That's the truth on that. I know there's so many questions I want to ask, but I know unfortunately you're not able to answer, which I can understand why.
Yeah.
So I won't even
I mean,
try.
you remember the Orson Welles broadcast, 1938, I think it was.
Yeah.
War of the Worlds. Look what
Mm-hmm.
happened back then, right? Just with a radio broadcast, all the panic.
Oh my
There was
Lord.
even people committing suicide.
Yeah. Yeah, they thought it was the real deal. So
So
I
can
don't
you
know.
imagine what they could portray today in this day and age with the advanced technology they have?
No, I sure couldn't. You know, I thought about it before, but no way. You know, a lot of people say they can handle the truth on the show, and I tell them they can't. That's why the government don't announce it
Right.
or share the evidence with us or the technology that they accrued or acquired. You know, I think we would have mass hysteria.
Right.
I think the
Oh,
streets
oh
be
yeah.
overrun.
Yeah.
It'd be worse than the LA riots back in the 80s, 90s.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once again, ladies and gentlemen, that's just my opinion, you know. And I do believe that we were told not to go back to the moon.
I believe
That,
that as well, because I mean, if we had the technology to do it way back then, I mean, why haven't we gone back? There's got to be a reason.
that's right. And now they're focusing on Mars, which doesn't make any good sense to me.
Yeah, well,
You
they got
know,
that new military branch now. They're the Space Force, so
yeah, they
they
do.
got to be up to something.
Oh yeah, unknown budgets. God, there's no telling how many trillions they acquire.
Oh man. That's the problem with man. He doesn't put his priorities first. You've got millions of homeless, starving people in the world, and they waste money on projects like that. They can't even take care of home first before they wanted to, journey elsewhere.
Well, and one of my complaints has always been is why are we sending billions and billions to other countries,
Exactly. And you got
third world
people starving
countries?
right here in America. Exactly.
That's right. I see a problem with that, but I guess some people don't, and some people want to live their life blind and so forth. So that's their prerogative, I guess.
Well, you know what it is. People are satisfied by, working 8 to 5, got a roof over their head, food on the table. Go out and eat once in a while, go see a movie, stay home, play their video games. They're in their little bubble, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The only problem is when their little bubbles burst, at that point, it's going to be too late.
That is true. That is true. Wow, that's cool. Cool walks. Somebody put down. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, you're hearing it from the man himself. I mean, do I believe he's making it up? Absolutely not. There are things out there that we cannot explain. There are things out there the government can't explain, will not explain. So, and I don't think Jim's the only one either.
Life is pretty simple. The facts. There's facts that we do know. We know that we're born, we live, we die. But people aren't ready to accept that. See, it's that simple. Regarding the big picture, everybody's always looking for the truth. There are many truths. And what the truth is what each individual perceives as being their truth.
Yeah.
That's the extent of the truth. There is no one truth.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it makes good sense to me. I wonder if Jim Blanton's still on or if he jumped off. He's all into that stuff and government conspiracies and not knowing the truth like I am.
Oh yeah, I'm into that myself, but you got to be careful what you say because they suppress your freedom of speech.
Yeah, they do it a lot. I heard people's podcasts being shut down. I heard stuff happening out in the world being followed, and
exactly.
I mean, I bought
now they got their fact checkers.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? When they are really damn good.
I did a video. I did a video the other day about the Tuskegee incident there, where the government had a government program where they were infecting black crop workers with the syphilis virus without their knowledge, and doing all kinds of experiments. And now that's a legit story. So I went through an article that was legit on the video. And then I challenged the fact checkers to take that video down. It's still up there.
Wow,
and at the end of the video, I asked, as far as what I just read, and that being truth, that being fact, I'd like to see the fact checkers, take this video down. And I said, as far as I'm concerned, I don't trust the government. I'm not telling you not to trust them, but I myself, I don't trust them as far as I could throw them. And the video's still up there.
Well, Vietnam vets. What do they give them? LSD so they can fight. Look at the New York subway. That chemical they sprayed down there to test on humans.
Oh, they do all kinds of stuff. How about all these GMOs on all these crops, on all the food we're eating?
Oh,
when they're spraying that, when they're spraying them crops, they got hazmat suits on and we're eating it.
Yeah, right. No matter how well you wash your vegetables and fruits, it's still there. Most of the time, the only thing you do is rinsing them anyways. You know,
and we've all been consuming fluoride for years in the water and the toothpaste.
Yeah. Yep, you're right. You know, I had kidney cancer a couple years ago. They didn't know how bad it was.
Oh,
and they found it by mistake because I got hurt at work, which was a miracle. And I was talking to a lady.
They caught it in time, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was talking to a psychic, and she said, "Did you wear your cell phone on your right hip?" And I was like, "Why are you asking me that?" She said, "Just answer the question." And I had to sit there and stop for a second. I said, "Yeah, I did on my duty belt when I was a police officer." And then she started telling me other stories about other officers, about the equipments in the cars that sit next to their right size, all electronics, and how she had equipment underneath her seat when she was on. Then she developed some tumors, and it just makes you wonder.
And I believe there's a connection there. I do believe that.
Well, who was it that warned us about 5G technology? I forgot who that was. It's supposed to be really harmful. It's on the tip of my tongue.
I can't think of his name.
But he preached and preached. Boy, they shut him up real quick.
Yeah. Well, look what they're doing to Alex Jones now.
Yeah. And you know, that's why I try to tell people you have to do your due diligence and do research. Take things lightly with a grain of salt or sand.
Right.
Come up with your own conclusions, not what people tell you.
Exactly.
So
believe in whatever you feel comfortable believing. That's about the gist of it, you know?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I agree with that. I really do. And like I said, you never know when it's going to end or when it's going to start and what's going to happen or anything else. So,
yep. All we can do is one day at a time. That's it.
Yeah. So, Jim, how does everybody get a hold of you, sir?
Well, I've got a website. It's jimandre.net. It's all about the alien experience. And I've got the group there on Facebook, the Alien Connection Truth Network. I do have an email address if somebody wants to email me privately. It's uniteamerica@live.com.
uniteamerica@unite.com, correct?
No, uniteamerica@live.com.
Oh, live.com. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, people make sure we get that straight. Reach out to them, show them some love. All the admins and moderators, thank you for letting me go live in your Facebook groups. I greatly appreciate that. My love goes out to you. But you heard it from Jim, ladies and gentlemen. When is it going to start? When is it going to end? What are you going to believe in? But if you want to come on Grizzly Show, all you have to do is email me at Grizzly the Paranormal at gmail.com. Once again, that's Grizzly the Paranormal at gmail.com. Jim, it's been an honor, and I've been waiting for you for quite a while. I'm glad we got everything worked out.
I'm glad we were able to connect. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure, my honor. And ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of night from coast to coast around the world. Jim and I must say good night. Take care. We'll see you on the next one.
Good night, everybody.